Sleepy town settled for the night, where every lawn is tailored just right. And it's about time that the back porch light comes on. At that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street. Okay, I'm recording.
We made it. You sound so funny out of this computer.
What?
You sound funny coming out of my computer.
What? What do I?
These other speakers.
Oh, because you don't have your usual setup.
Yeah.
It'll do. Your plug is broken.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Doing?
It's super old. It's probably like a 10-year-old computer-ish. And Aaron brought it to, I was like, hey, can you bring this up to see if they can just fix the plug? And they were like, it's a $125 part and this computer is not worth that much.
You might as well just get a new plug or
New computer.
Yeah.
That's what they mean. Like the plug part is more expensive than the computer is worth. So maybe in the future, Magnolia Street will have some like really good technology.
Billy.
I wanted to take a picture to post on our Instagram, but I've just been so busy with Billy.
Speaking of Billy, remember when I said I had a surprise for you last week? I forgot to post it because I was so busy doing my party, but I guess I'll just show you on here. I still want to post it.
Okay.
But I don't want to wait to post it for you to see it, so I'll just show it to you now. But I made this last year, okay? This is from the Shuffles app, so I made this like animated collage, and this was inspired by our summer solstice fan fiction from last year.
Okay.
So I made...
Yo! I want that as my computer background. I love that so much.
So can you read the signs? Can you read the signs? Wait.
The Hamptons of welcome to the Berkshires, the Hamptons of the witchcraft.
Yeah.
The charming town of Massachusetts, 30 miles an hour. What's the white say above his head?
It says, if you're gonna include if you're gonna include me in your tales, I suppose I'll have to play along.
I know.
Is that what he said in the fan fiction?
Yeah.
And then on the bottom we have us in our flower crowns with Sally and the
Oh my
aunts.
gosh.
And
I love that.
the Midsummer girl.
I love that. Who's popping out from behind the dancers there? It's like moving.
Is that just fire?
Yeah. Okay, just the fire.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then wait, I have more people up here. There's a Sparrow in here, and Claire from Outlander. She's in like the time portal because time travel, you know.
I love it.
And then up on the other rock, there's another figure from the movie Midsummer.
Did you put the girl from Midsummer on the Owens house?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did.
That's
and then
great.
she's giving Billy some strawberry wine.
I love this picture.
There's so many details. You gotta really look, or
It's
you're
the
gonna
gift
miss
that keeps
something.
on giving.
Yeah, and
I
then
love it.
I have I have a clock in there in the time portal and some floating lanterns. I like the lanterns, they're cool.
They're very pretty. I just like the big old, is it a moon behind him or is that just open space?
It's a time portal. It's the
I
portal.
love it. Get it, Christina? It's a time jumper.
Oh, and then also wait, look, there's a Billy peeking out from the rock over here. Do you see him?
There's so many Billies.
There's creepy Billy.
That's adorable.
Yeah. So that I made that last year and I never posted it. I totally forgot. And I was like, oh shit, I should post it this year. And then I forgot again. So I wanted to show.
I love it.
I'll probably post that at some point, maybe later. Anyway.
Hey, Witch Hey.
Hey, Witch Hey. How was your weekend/solstice?
It got better. For sure. It's just been hot. Love hanging out with Wyatt. He's just such a sweetheart. He is, like I said, in the Marco, he's like the epitome of like healthy Leo, masculine Leo. I just love him to death. So it's nice seeing him.
How do you know him? Who is he?
He and Aaron went to school together.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's our friend from California.
Okay. Oh, California. Nice.
Yeah, I know. Yes, yes. And we have been eating good food and just he's on antibiotics, so he can't drink. Which kind
That
of sucks.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hang out with Tom and Clyde at all? Or they
They left for the mountains.
mountains. Okay.
Yeah, so they've been up there for a couple weeks now. We're just trying to stay cool. What
Yeah.
about you?
I had my little shindig on Saturday night, and that was a lot of fun. I had my lady friends come over, and Avi made us a beautiful charcuterie board. And
Did he do his pepperoni
he made his
roses?
salami roses.
Yes, and it's funny because everybody was afraid to eat them because they looked so pretty. Because he's a master of the art now, so like nobody wanted to eat the salami roses. So they were kind of sweaty by the end of the night.
Oh, okay.
Sweaty salami on the board. But we made flower crowns, and I had a little like a lemonade station set up.
Cute.
And so everybody can make their own lemonade, but I got this like butterfly pea flower, and when you put it in the lemonade, the acid from the lemonade makes the powder turn like a purple color. It's
Purple.
so pretty. And then I had some lavender syrup set up there with I had edible glitter, so anybody can make like a little glittery cocktail with some lavender buds as garnish. So I had like a little
Cool.
fairy drink station. So that was cute and fun. And then I had a make and take station. I had like Epsom salts, and I bought some like loose herbs so anybody can like make their own solstice bath salt mixture, so they can make that and take it home in like little mason jars. And we did a
How fun.
bonfire, we did a bay leaf burning thing. I set up a little nature altar, and I asked everybody to bring like a little nature offering to set up on the altar. And it was a lot of fun. And I made this big ass solstice cake. Did you see my
I
cake?
saw your cake. It was beautiful with the blueberries.
Ginormous. Yeah,
So
it
pretty.
barely fit in the fridge. I was like, oh my God, I made this
I
choice.
like that style
Yeah,
because it like if you cover
rustic.
the whole thing, it's too much frosting.
Yeah, it was very rustic, very summery and solsticey, and that's probably the witchiest cake I've ever made. It
It's
was,
beautiful.
yeah, thank you. I wish I could send you a piece.
I
It
know.
might not be
You
good,
send me
but
a
it might be
recipe.
something. I have like stuff for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna send you a solstice box. I know it's gonna be a little late,
Oh my God.
but I hope
I
you
appreciate that.
enjoy it nonetheless. Yeah, I
Thanks,
can't wait to
man.
send you some stuff. Oh, by the way, did you get the gift that Melancholy Mermaid sent us?
I did. Did you get yours?
I did. Yeah.
Where did you put yours?
It's still in my I opened it in my car, and then I left, I forgot it. It's in my car, but
Okay.
I'm probably gonna put it in my office somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mine is hanging under our very first season one poster
yeah,
right next to the computer here.
yeah.
She sent us it could be a Christmas ornament, but it's a record, it's a vinyl with the Stina's 2025 written
That
in the
is
center. It's so
so
cute.
even the card she sent was really cute,
Yeah,
right?
really
So
sweet.
we have the best listeners, best fans, and you guys are just so awesome. Everybody's been so supportive of this release, which
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess
Diving in?
yeah, I guess we did have some feedback from our listeners. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to thank everybody who popped in to say hi to us on our IG Live before our album listening party over on the Bandcamp. And that was a lot of fun chatting with you guys and
Hmm.
listening to the album in real time. And we even had a new follower actually find us through Bandcamp. So shout out to Scott and
Whoa.
thank him for purchasing our album and sticking around to chat with us,
Oh my gosh.
tell us a little bit about his story, and he's got a YouTube channel. And yeah, so it's cool that people are finding us from different platforms, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then we also have some feedback from some of our listeners who have been listening to the album, probably on repeat. And the first one is Chocolate Cake for Breakfast 13. I think that's Alex. And Alex says, what a great thing to be able to listen to your music as a group. Really enjoy the experience, and all the songs were beautiful. I've had a mashup of brownies for breakfast, one green eye, one blue, and All Hallows Eve stuck in my brain all night and through today. Well done, witches, and all the luck in the world with this. So
Guess what?
thanks for that. What?
Aaron was singing Magnolia Street
He was?
yesterday morning making
That's
breakfast.
amazing.
Like,
All right.
I didn't get to record it, but I remember our listener just saying her husband was singing it the other day, and I was like, it's going to be like a fever that
Yeah.
spreads.
It's the brainworm is working. It's making its way in.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Claire SB says, wow, I've listened to the whole EP on Spotify over here in the UK, and it's so beautiful. Phone Tree Day is my favorite, but they are all dreamy and summery and magical to listen to. It's a gorgeous first volume, ladies. I've tried to listen to it on my Alexa, and it says I can't find it yet. So I'll keep checking this weekend, as maybe there's a delay, perhaps. And once I get more time, I'll buy them on my iTunes, put them on my iPod so I can have them forever. And with a toddler about, he never lets me go on my laptop. But all this to say, you've worked so hard and the product is so good. I love them all, and I love listening to your podcast. It's a highlight in my week. That's really sweet. I'm about a quarter of the way in the album release episode, and it's so funny. It's lovely to laugh along with you in my kitchen or garden. Looking forward to hearing about how things go from here. They can only go up, up, up. Sending love to you guys across the pond. Hope that you have the best summer solstice. Thank you, Claire. That's really sweet.
Thanks, Claire. I love listening to her audio messages.
Yeah.
Her accent is phenomenal. I love it. So
Yeah.
sweet. It's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Any other listeners from the UK? Alex Clark too. Alex Clark also
Yeah.
has a really sweet accent. Anybody else? If we have fans from the UK, please send us voice notes because we love your accents.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Casey Dawn, my friend Casey sent us a message. She said, "Hey girl, I listened to the EP before bed last night and it was so beautiful. I'm so happy for you guys and that you were able to bring this dream into fruition. My favorite song is Phone Tree Day." Yeah, my mom's favorite song is also Phone Tree Day. She said it reminded her of Wilson Phillips.
Yeah, I
All
can
the
see that.
harmonies and stuff.
Yes.
What Penny made sent us a message saying, "Legit crying right now. You two are amazing. Thank you for the magic." And
Oh,
thank you so much, Penny, for sending that in. It's really sweet. And my mom's cousin, Donna Harrington, says, "Love the album. What a work of love. The attention to detail with the lyrics is fantastic. I didn't realize that you guys met online. Such serendipity, but honestly, I don't think anything happens by chance."
oh.
Yeah, we have to agree with that, right? And then we got a couple messages from the Wisteria Vine, and here's a little message from Mallory.
Just listen to all the songs and I love them. You guys, it sounds so good. Yo, on brownies for breakfast, that guitar solo slaps, y'all. So good. I love the songs. Everything's so fun. There's so many little like things that I'm like, I know why they did that. I know why they did that. And it's because we all love the book so much. Everything sounds great. The mixes sound awesome. Your voices sound incredible. You guys did such a good job with overdubs. I'm glad that you really took your time and were like, hey, this is what we need. This is what I want. It sounds so good. I love it. It's so, so good. And I'm on my way to Lauren's right now because we are driving to Illinois today. So I'm going to listen in the car with her too. So, yay! Congratulations! I'm so happy for you guys. You worked so hard. Just remember that the day you release music feels like the culmination, but for all the rest of us, it's just getting started. So don't stop talking about it. Don't stop plugging it. Don't stop sharing it. You know, don't stop encouraging other people to share it, which I definitely will be doing, because this is just the beginning for everyone who's going to fall in love with it. I'm so proud of you guys.
And then we also got a message from Lori.
Look who has their music released out into the wide, wide world. Congratulations, ladies.
At the end of her message, she goes, "Now I'll let you get back to the podcast," or something. I might pop that in at the end of our break.
Oh, cute.
Right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun using our listeners
should do
as
that.
singers.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys want to be a part of the podcast, send us a voice note that maybe says, "Hey, you're listening to Magnolia Street Podcast," or "This is so-and-so from wherever you're from."
Yeah. All around the world.
Yeah, you're listening to Magnolia Street Podcast and back to the show or something of the sort, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be, I think that would be really cute to involve our listeners in all of our episodes.
Yeah.
I was also thinking of, you know, how sometimes we have an ad for like Grounded by the Moon, or if we have an ad for our EP, maybe instead of playing an ad, we can play a song every now and then. And then I guess if you guys have a favorite song on the EP, you could say you were just listening to Phone Tree Day, or you were just listening to Brownies for Breakfast, or whatever. And now back to the show, or something like that,
Yeah.
you know?
I love it.
So I thought that
Cool
would be
idea.
a cute way to include our fans into
Yeah. We also, I wanted to do this the day after, but I forgot. And I wanted to make this a poll,
Mhm.
but you can only have 4 options in a poll. And we have 5 songs, but I wanted to ask our listeners over on Instagram what your favorite songs are off of the EP. So we have a couple replies, and Chocolate Cake for Breakfast says, "One green eye, one blue, but All Hallows Eve will be my earworm forever now."
Love that.
I think they're all earworms. I love them so much. Fifth Alchemy says Magnolia Street is their favorite. Little Gold Dust Woman, you know, One Green Eye, One Blue is my jam right now. Elizabeth says Brownies for Breakfast. Linda says all of them. And Claire says Phone Tree Day and Magnolia Street. A close second. Love the whole EP though. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
awesome. Thank you guys. Keep streaming that shit. Send
Yeah.
it to all your friends. Yeah, and then we talked about little Melancholy. I was gonna say the Little Mermaid. Melancholy Mermaid
Yes.
sent us that beautiful gift, so thank you to her. And we have a new patron. I think she joined like maybe a week or 2 ago, but things were so crazy with the album release, we didn't get to do a proper shout out. So thank you to Nikki Rubiker for joining the Patreon. Thank you so much, Nikki. Welcome to the show. Brr, 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 brr.
Thanks, Nikki.
Yeah.
Happy to have you. I reached out to a friend of mine, because I was like, we know a Nikki and we know a Brubaker family back home. And I was like,
Sure.
do we know this person? We don't know this person.
Okay.
I would love to get to know this person now that they're a patron, though.
Right.
What up, Nikki Brubaker? Cool.
Yeah, so I guess with that said, was there anything else we wanted to chat about before we get into today's topic?
I don't think so. The Belladonna's still alive, so
Oh,
it's
that's
going strong there.
That's right. You had that
Check it in.
belladonna pop up in your
Yeah.
garden. So this past weekend when we are getting ready for the solstice party. Wait, did I tell you Avi has 3 broken toes?
No, I know he was limping around though. Jesus.
So yeah, he got a 3rd freaking opinion from I guess his follow-up after the x-ray or the initial like he had an x-ray and then he went for the follow-up for that and then he got another opinion. 3 of his toes are broken.
What can you do? Put him in a boot?
Yeah, he's in a boot right now and he's like he went to work yesterday. He's kind of going to work on and off and working remotely. Today he's home because yesterday he came home in so much pain.
That's awful.
It is awful. But
Poor guy.
Saturday, he was limping around trying to help me with the party and getting party. He was setting things up for me with broken toes. I felt horrible. But his friend Joe did come over and help him mow the lawn. So his friend actually mowed the lawn for him. But
How
I was
sweet.
I'm like, Joe, just don't mow over my mugwort, please.
Yeah.
And Avi's like, yeah, just leave the mugwort. That's just
It's right there.
Yeah. So I thought
It's
that
so
was
funny.
Joe was probably like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? What the hell's mugwort? But yeah. But
Cool.
anyway,
What are we doing today?
we are talking about the sparrow, right? We briefly touched on this topic on last year's summer solstice episode. So let's take a listen right now. The whole sparrow thing actually started with Maria's time, right? Oh, that's so weird. I just opened magic lessons and I didn't even type any keyword in, and the first thing that pops up, every Midsummer's Eve, a sparrow came into the parlor of the house on Magnolia Street. If it completed a circle around the room 3 times, bad luck was sure to come. Because of this, Faith never forgot the bird whose life she had taken for her own benefit when she made the revenge pie for John Hathorne. So yeah, the Midsummer's Eve thing with the sparrow, that whole thing originated in 1696, I guess Maria's time period.
And do you think that was because of Faith's left-handed magic with the pie and John Hathorne?
That's what it's saying. Yeah, it said that yeah, because of this, Faith never forgot the bird whose life maybe it was just a reminder to her because she did take that bird's life for her own benefit. So maybe the sparrow was just a reminder to her, like the whole threefold law, what you put out, you get back, right? And maybe that's why it circled 3 times.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that was magic lessons.
Yeah, so very interesting how Alice was able to incorporate this bird but I wonder why on Midsummer? Why Midsummer's Eve, right? I was just looking to see what sparrows had to do with Midsummer and did Alice pull that from somewhere, or is this something that she just kind of fabricated for the sake of the story? This article is from 2018. Okay, so she wrote magic lessons. What year was that?
Oh Lord, I don't know.
Oh, well, and I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because she included the bit about the sparrow in the first book, Practical Magic. So this was years ago.
Yeah.
So she must have done her own research on these sparrows. So there's this article on blog.aba.org, and this is the American Birding Association, and they also have a podcast. So there's this article called Happening Now, the Midsummer Nocturnal Molt Migration of Eastbound Chipping Sparrows. And this article was written by Ted Floyd and posted on July 17th, 2018. I'm not going to read the article, and it's not that long, but I looking at it, I was I couldn't really tell from a glance what this article was about. So I told ChatGPT to summarize it for me. So basically the article is about this. So the author recounts hearing a chipping sparrow's distinctive flight call on July 16, 2018, marking their, quote, first of season sighting of the species, which is notable for its midsummer nocturnal migration in Colorado. Although chipping sparrows don't breed in the area, they pass through during a molt migration starting in mid-July. Despite knowing about this phenomenon for over a decade, the author, originally from the East Coast where these birds migrate in October, remains fascinated by the earlier migration in the western high plains. and the author attributes their awareness to the influence of North American birds, a journal focused on avian status and distribution, which encourages readers to observe and question bird population behaviors. They suggest that the journal could more formally report on such phenomena through timely, short communications with the potential for rapid review and electronic preprints. The post invites the readers to share what's happening in their own regions. So isn't that fascinating? Like that is the connection. These chipping sparrows migrate on the midsummer solstice.
Mid-June through July.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I wonder if Alice like found that bit of information and was up on these aviation studies before these scientists. I don't know
so much. She's predicting this shit.
That might be far-fetched, but yeah, maybe she is predicting this shit because
So
oh
funny.
my god.
Yeah.
But crazy.
That's
how
cool. Good find.
everything's all connected. Yeah. So, yeah, the sparrow, I guess, is really synonymous with the summer solstice. And we even had a little lyric from our song Summer Solstice, which we also premiered last summer. And that lyric says, "Free as a bird, bound to emerge with the wind in our wings. When was the last time you threw caution to the wind? The heat is rising, so let's fan the flames of freedom, 'cause tonight we are wild."
You sing this so beautifully. You
That's
can
the
feel it like in your chest.
Yeah, that's
Really
the bridge
nice.
of the song, like the crescendo, the climax of that song. And with that said, I guess we're just gonna dive right into the books, right?
Yeah.
And we're starting with magic lessons. So you want to take it away, Christina?
Yes, let's start with magic lessons. And again, we're going to try to do this a little differently, just the summation of how the sparrow shows up instead of reading each individual one. But we might have specific quotes we throw in here and there that are needed. There's a bird that moves through the whole book series, right? Quiet at first, almost easy to miss. It's a sparrow. It flits through the early chapters, perching in Maria's palm, calm and trusting, as if drawn to her power. Not in fear. In recognition, in those moments, the sparrow feels like a familiar spirit, one that chooses the witch, not the other way around. And for a time, it seems like that's all. A symbol of harmony, of nature responding to goodness, but sparrows, like magic, shift with the wind. Later, they begin to warn. They retreat into shadows, keeping distance from dangers near. They scatter at moments of pain. They don't sing, they flee. And when they do, you feel it in your bones, as if they sense something coming before the rest of us. Eventually, the sparrow becomes part of the spell work itself. Bones, blood, feathers folded into ritual. And that's where the story takes a darker turn. I think this is where Faith comes in her left-handed magic.
Yep.
What was once a sign of trust becomes a tool of desperation. The moment a sparrow dies in Faith's hands, she's taken this life. She is not given it. The magic changes. It costs something, not just in ingredients or intention, but in conscience. You can feel the wrongness pulse through the pages. Like any act of physical harm against an animal is just no. The spell might work, but the price echoes louder than the outcome. And then the sparrow begins to return, not as a helper or a warning, but as a haunting. Every midsummer, circling the room, a memory made winged, a consequence that knows how to find its way back. What I love most about that, by the end, the sparrow is no longer used. It's released, gently urged to the window, no longer hunted or feared, just let go, I guess. As if the magic lesson wasn't about power at all, but about responsibility. Because sparrows don't speak, they don't chant or shimmer, but in the story, they tell us everything we need to know about boundaries, grief, and the quiet cost of every spell we cast. When a sparrow appears, don't ignore it. We pause and ask yourself what it knows that you've forgotten. 359, this is when Keeper, her actual familiar, kind of like turns on her. It says, when she took the life of the sparrow, Keeper threw back his head and howled, overcome by loss, as if Faith had been stolen from him once again. The sound sent shivers down her spine, but she didn't stop. Her blood was on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, that gave me chills.
Yeah, and then there's one on 392 where it kind of like talks about I'll just read it. So it says, Faith had been wrong about many things. She still had that red mark that had arisen in the center of her left palm when Martha Chase drowned. The color had faded, but the blotch was enough to remind her of the bad choices she had made in the past. Every Midsummer's Eve, a sparrow came into the parlor of the house on Magnolia Street. If it completed a circle around the room 3 times, bad luck was sure to come. Because of this, Faith never forgot the bird whose life she had taken for her own benefit when she made the revenge pie for John Hathorne. Hathorne was a successful trader narrator, but people in town avoided him. There was nothing she wanted from him now because he had nothing to give her. She always chased the sparrow to the window, then gently urged it out with the broom. So, yeah, the whole sparrow origin seemed to have started with faith.
Mm-hmm.
As a reminder of, that threefold law, like you take a life, should expect some bad shit coming back on you.
Yep,
You know?
exactly. Agreed.
Right. That's it for magical lessons. We're going to move on to rules of magic, Franny, Jet, and Vincent's story. So there's a quiet spell that lives in the wings of a sparrow, one that stretches across generations of Owens women, whether they notice it or not. The sparrow first appears gently enough in Rules of Magic, perched in Maria's hand, calm, cheeky, drawn to her as if by instinct. It's not just a bird, it's a barometer, a familiar, and a warning wrapped in feathers. Okay, yeah, so over time, though, the sparrow begins to shift. In Rules of Magic, we learn that a sparrow flying indoors on Midsummer's Eve is a sign of bad luck. A broom is kept ready to chase it out, as if misfortune itself could be swept from the threshold, but when the bird lands calmly on Franny's shoulder, without fear, without hesitation, it's a signal that something deeper is at work, a lineage waking up. The birds always know first. They sense change before it's spoken. They scatter at moments of grief. They appear in moments of transformation. And they return again and again, not because they are summoned, but because they remember. When Franny lifts the bird in her cupped hands and lets it go through the open window, it's a release, not just of the bird, but of the fear that follows it. In another moment, she watches the soul of someone she loves follow the sparrow out of the house like the breath of wind. Is that talking about Isabel?
Isabel.
Yeah, Aunt Isabel. The sparrow becomes a psychopomp, carrying souls, carrying stories, and the weight of the past. Even the family's black cats are eventually named after birds: sparrow, goose, crow, as if the line between fur and feather has blurred entirely. As if the Owens magic is always circling back on itself, waiting to be seen, waiting to be set free. So maybe the sparrow doesn't bring bad luck at all. Maybe it brings the truth. It comes to remind us the smallest things have the longest memories, and the choices we make, especially the quiet ones, echo long after we believe the spell is done.
Yeah.
So just scrolling back up to the book mentions, just seeing. Did you have something to add to that?
This sparrow stuff showed up in Alice's very first book of practical magic, and it really comes in and it goes out. And then we learned, when she wrote the third book, why it does this. But she does kind of like reuse the same trope, the same, situation throughout the books equally.
Yeah.
And I think in Book of Magic, something different. No, in practical magic, it doesn't show up, right? In one of the books, the bird doesn't show up.
Maybe it was Book of Magic.
We're gonna get there, I think.
Okay. All right. I guess
Is there anything in the second book that you want to directly quote?
So I guess on page 24, where it just reiterates once a year, and now this is Rules of Magic now, so like this is the first time we're seeing it since Maria's story, and kind of piecing together, I guess, the lineage and how it happened to Faith, and now it's happening again for Franny, Jet, and Vincent as, kids coming of age, living with their Aunt Isabel, kind of experiencing all this magical stuff for the first time, right? Yeah, so the scene where Franny's cupping the bird, I guess, in her hands, and Jet and Vincent came to watch it as it disappeared into the branches of a very old tree, one of the few elms in the Commonwealth that had survived the blight. Franny turned to their aunt, Isabel. Something passed between them and an unspoken wave of approval. "Welcome home," Isabel said. So,
Oh, I like that.
yeah, so Franny, Jet, and Vincent arrived at Aunt Isabel's that mansion on Magnolia Street. They arrived there on Midsummer's Eve. So that was kind of like they're coming into their own realization of their magic, because living at home with Susanna, their mother, like she wanted none of that. So
They were stepping through
the veil.
that threshold. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And then they had, as soon as they get there on Magnolia Street on Midsummer's Eve, they have that experience with the bird, and
Right away. Yeah.
Isabel's like, "Welcome home."
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh.
right? Doesn't that give you chills a little bit?
Yeah. That's like Stevie Nicks showing up in the American Horror Story, right?
Yes.
Like, "Hello, ladies," or whatever she
Yeah.
says.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. And just to think, if they did utilize flashbacks in the PM2 upcoming movie, and Stevie Nicks as Aunt Isabel would just make my entire life.
I know.
Right?
I know. Oh,
Right?
chilies. Okay.
Anyway, okay. Yeah.
Practical magic. Here we go. Again, once a year, like clockwork, that bird is showing up. It's finding its way into the Owens house. It doesn't matter how tightly the windows are latched or how much salt has been scattered on the sills. The bird always finds its way in, always on midsummer and always at twilight, always silent. It would circle the dining room 3 times, and each loop meant one thing, and that was trouble. The aunts, now older, They have Sally and Julian in the house, kept a broom ready, not to hurt the bird, but to chase misfortune back out the window that it flew in from. But the sparrow always flew too high to reach, as if it wasn't there to be caught, but to bear witness. And also, this is the first book, and I don't think Alice put together like, oh, Franny's going to have this bird connection. And, when she's younger, she's able to call the birds to her and gently move them here and there.
Yeah.
This was pre-hocusy pocusy.
Yeah. Also, one more thing, I want going back to the rules of magic passage that we just read when Franny, Jet, and Vincent arrive on Magnolia Street. The bird circles 3 times. Yes, we connected it to the threefold law, but also, do you think it circled 3 times to represent Franny, Jet, and Vincent? Like, one time for each of them. That's why Isabel was like, welcome home, because like each time the bird flew around, it was like welcoming each one of them into the house.
Yeah. And then year after year, it came. For some, it meant dread. For others, it was a message. Over generations, the Owens women learned to watch the sparrow. They kind of feared it. They knew it was coming around. They recognized it until one day it didn't come at all. That year, something shifted. And I think this is the year that they had Jimmy, right? There was no tap at the window, no rustle in the chandelier, no circling in the dining room, just absence. And in that absence, possibility. Because what if the sparrow didn't bring misfortune? What if it brought a mirror, something to reflect what had been buried? Grief, guilt, magic, used in anger, spells cast in pain.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Something, because it says something to reflect what had been buried. So yeah, maybe it didn't come because they buried Jimmy.
What if the sparrow wasn't a curse but a compass? Across the Owens family tree, the sparrow marks turning points. Maria held one in her hand when she was still very young, trusted by the wild. Faith used one in a desperate spell and never forgot the weight of what it cost. Franny watched it arrive on her aunt's parlor, calm and unafraid, and she knew she was finally home. And Sally, she waited for it. And when it never came, she laughed and ran straight into the arms of a new future. The sparrow's meaning changes with the women who meet it. Sometimes it's an omen, sometimes a sacrifice, sometimes a soul leaving the body on a midnight breath. But always, it's a choice to chase it, to listen to it, to let it go. But the magic lesson isn't about the bird. It's about the way we respond to it, just like fire, how it's used. Do we reach for the broom? Do we wring its neck? Do we open a window, cup it gently in our hands and say, you're free to go? Because maybe the real spell is this. Things change, they shift, and we can too.
So I guess moving on to the last, and this is Book of Magic. So there's a scrim of magic over the Owens house on Magnolia Street in Book of Magic. You can feel it in the garden, in the greenhouse with its dangerous plants, and in the smallest of omens, a sparrow that arrives at Midsummer. It's tradition every year, without fail, a sparrow flies in through some unseen crack or forgotten window. The family chases it out with a broom, believing bad luck will follow if it circles the dining room 3 times. They never question why it comes, only that it does. And so it was passed down, as rituals often are. Franny, Jet, and later Antonia and Kylie all inherit the same expectation. Salt the sills, watch the sky, brace for the wings. But this time the sparrow comes early. It's March, not June. Okay? So what, the spring equinox?
It's when Jetty's dying.
Yep. The windows are shut, the air is rainy and strange, and yet there it is, fluttering across the dining room, perched on the curtain rod, peering down at the Owens women with a bright, knowing eye. Kylie is confused. She says it's not Midsummer's Eve, but Franny isn't confused, not really. Franny, who once coaxed birds to her hand in Central Park, Franny, who always had a way with the wild, she holds out her palm and the sparrow comes to her, quiet, trusting, heart beating fast. And in that moment, so brief, so clear, Franny understands this isn't tradition interrupting itself. This is goodbye. The bird has come not as a harbinger, but as a soul. Jet's maybe, or Raphael's, or maybe just the shape that grief takes when it's ready to lift. Franny listens to that little heartbeat and feels the weight of every loss she's ever carried suddenly rise like steam. It's only when you're old, she thinks, that you truly appreciate those that you've lost. So she opens the window, the air smells of rain and new magnolia. The sparrow lifts off and then it's gone, and so is Raphael. Later, Antonia will try to make sense of it, leave out breadcrumbs, set up a camera, rig it to catch evidence, but all she'll get are a few blurry photos. I don't remember that. Do you remember, Antonia?
I don't remember that either.
That's all sparrows ever leave us, really. Blurs or impressions, a feeling in the air that something once lived and now doesn't. but maybe still lingers. Maybe that's what the Owens women are chasing with their brooms each summer. Not the bird itself, but the truth that comes with it. That time moves, that spirit's return. And that sometimes a goodbye won't wait for the proper season. So if the sparrow comes early, listen, it's not a mistake, it's a message.
Ooh, yeah, really like that. That goodbye doesn't wait for a proper season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sad, but it's true. You just don't know.
You never know.
So those are our books that never made it into the movie yet that we
Right.
know of. It might make it into the second film coming out, which would be a very deep cut, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot that they can do in this movie that, callbacks to, again, all the books if they utilize flashbacks, and I think
Yeah.
they could do a lot and follow the books more closely because I don't know, the first film, like there were certain little things and Easter eggs, like if you read the book,
Mhm.
you would know, but I think there's a lot more that they can pull from now that there's
Agreed.
more books, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this popped up about liminal spaces, the sparrow and the windowsill and all that. So I want to talk about that really quickly. There's something quietly powerful about moments that live on the edge of things. We've talked about liminal spaces on here. I think they're fascinating. I kind of really like those videos on TikTok. It's like a water park inside a building and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah,
I
those are
like those.
creepy as hell, right? Like a lot empty locker room, like
Hmm.
so
Mhm.
creepy.
Where there are supposed to be people and activity and there isn't is like,
Mhm.
ooh.
Yeah.
So in myth and magic, we call these spaces liminal spaces, and it's a place where one world brushes against another. There are the cracks in the everyday. It's like an open window or the threshold at twilight. It's the longest day of the year we just had, just before light begins to wane. They're in between spaces. They don't belong fully to what came before or what's coming next. And they are where magic happens. So one of these spaces is the summer solstice. For example, the moment when the sun climbs high to the highest point in the sky, just for a breath, time seems to pause and the day stretches longer than any other. And then, imperceptibly, the light begins to tip back toward darkness. It's a cosmic doorway and a turning point. In folklore, the day is loaded with power. Bonfires are lit. Justina did that. Candles, wreaths are floated down rivers. Herbs gathered on Midsummer's Eve are said to hold their greatest potency, and birds, particularly small ones like sparrows, are believed to carry messages between worlds. Did you happen to know any aviary activity during your summer solstice night?
Yeah, actually at one point there's a big tree that's over my deck and we're all sitting at the table making our flower crowns and we just heard something flitter through the trees. My mom was like, is that a bat?" And then somebody else was like, "No, it's just a bird or something like
Okay,
that." I
okay.
don't know.
Okay, so
Like
you had a
that's
visitor.
Yeah, yeah, just something flittering in the trees. But like we tend to get a lot of birds around our property anyway because we have a lot of trees around our house. So I mean, the cats love to sit on the windowsill and they talk to them,
Watch.
and it's so cute watching them talk to the birds.
Oh,
Yeah, and I've told
interesting.
you we get a lot of cardinals. I've been seeing a lot of cardinals lately, but not really sparrows. I don't think I've seen any sparrows.
But any little bird, it's just, particularly small birds like to carry messages.
Yeah,
So you had a little visitor,
yeah.
uninvited, but appreciated. So yeah, the sparrow who flies through the Owens house on Midsummer's Eve is not just a nuisance, it's a little marker. The veil is thin. The house is a hinge between worlds. I like that. That's cool. Birds have long been associated with the crossing of realms, sky to earth, life to death, spirit to body, and in fairy tales, a bird at the window is often a sign that something or someone is coming, that the air is about to change.
I've always heard that if a bird crashes into a window,
I was just gonna say that.
that's like an omen of death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard if it crashes and it dies, because my grandma has had that like 2 or 3 times and she swore by it and it has freaked me out ever since. Because
Yeah.
our whole living room is like all windows.
Yeah. We get a lot that crash into our side window because it's
It's
mirrored.
big.
It's mirrored from the outside, so I guess the bird can't tell like the depth like they can't tell
Yeah.
it's a window. So
Yeah.
they just I guess they see themselves or maybe that they think they're flying into another bird and then
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yes.
we get a lot of dead birds on the side of the house unfortunately because they crash
It
into the
happens.
all the time.
So think about how many times in the Book of Magic the sparrow doesn't just land, it enters, it invades a carefully contained domestic space, a house, a funeral, a ritual. And then Kylie says, but it's not midsummer because the ritual is out of place or out of time. But Franny knows. She opens her hand, and the sparrow this time is not an omen, it's a soul. Windows are a liminal boundary. So is a rooftop, a doorway, a curtain rod. The sparrow never, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like a curtain, like pulling back a curtain, you know?
Yeah.
The sparrow never enters with permission. It just arrives, and that's the whole point of liminality. It can't be scheduled. It won't wait for you to be ready. Let's talk about the moment that we lose our Aunt Jet. The most striking threshold in the Book of Magic isn't the solstice. It's Jet's burial, a perfectly fresh March morning, just after the rain, when the sparrow shows up early, out of season, out of order, but oddly enough, like right on time. And Franny, standing in her grief, recognizes it for what it is. And the quote is, she was aware that spirits could return in the form of birds to let those they'd left behind know that they hadn't been forgotten, and also to remind those who love them that they must let go. Oh, that's sad. And that's the deepest kind of threshold, not between seasons or rituals, but between holding on and letting go. Liminal moments don't announce themselves with trumpets, right? They whisper. They arrive uninvited. Sometimes they look like a sparrow tapping at your window, or a dream you can't quite shake, or a memory that circles the room 3 times before leaving. The trick is to recognize the thresholds for what it is, a pause before slamming the window shut, to ask what it's trying to tell you. Because once you step through a liminal space, you are no longer who you were. God, I hope we are in a liminal space right the fuck now. And we just get out of this timeline, right?
I hate it so much.
Yeah. But that is where the magic starts.
So, talking about some symbolism of sparrows, nature has always been a rich source of symbolism. And birds, in particular, hold a special place in our collective consciousness. Among the many avian creatures that captivate our imaginations, sparrows stand out as powerful symbols in various cultures worldwide with their delicate appearance and lively presence. So right now we're going to explore the symbolism of sparrows and unravel the deeper meanings associated with these small yet significant birds. First of all, they symbolize resilience and adaptability. Sparrows are known for their adaptability and resilience despite their small size. They have thrived in diverse habitats from urban landscapes to rural areas. And their ability to find food, build nests, and create communities in the most unlikely places serves as a reminder of the strength that can be found in the face of adversity. The sparrow symbolism thus encourages us to be adaptable, resilient, and to embrace change with a positive spirit. And then joy and simplicity. Sparrows are cheerful and energetic, often observed chirping and hopping about in playful groups. It's really cute. They remind us to find joy in life's simple things and appreciate the present moment. In a world that can sometimes be overwhelming and complex, don't we know that right now? Sparrows teach us the value of simplicity and the power of a lighthearted approach. And then community and social connection. Sparrows are highly social birds, frequently forming flocks and engaging in communal activities. They build their nests close to one another, emphasizing the importance of community and social connections. The symbolism of sparrows encourages us to value our relationships, foster a sense of belonging, and rely on the support of our communities. They remind us that we can achieve more together than we can alone. And then freedom and independence, like the lyric in our summer solstice bridge, right? Despite their preference for community, sparrows also embody the spirit of independence and freedom. These birds possess an innate wanderlust, exploring vast territories and venturing far and wide. Their flights symbolize the soul's liberation, encouraging us to fearlessly embrace our individuality and pursue our dreams. And sparrows inspire us to spread our wings, break free from limitations, and embrace the vastness of the world around us. And then lastly, they symbolize protection and hope. In many cultures, sparrows are seen as symbols of protection and good fortune. Their presence is believed to bring blessings and ward off evil spirits, and their ability to navigate challenging environments and adapt to changing circumstances offers hope and reassurance. The symbolism of sparrows reminds us that even in difficult times, there's always a glimmer of hope and a promise of better days ahead. And the Sagittarian in me likes that message. Like, no, the world could be burning behind us, and we're like, it'll be fine. This is just a turning point. We're going to come out of this.
It'll be fine.
Glass half full, baby. There's
I like that.
always a silver lining, you
The
know?
sparrow is for you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shows up in lots of different cultures. One that showed up most prevalently was the Indian culture.
Mhm.
It shows up in the literature and the culture itself, and the sparrow bird has been an integral part of their folklore, mythology, and poetry for centuries. The sparrow has been revered as a symbol of love, devotion, and companionship, and its significance can be found in many Indian texts, including the Ramayana, Mahabharata,
Mahabharata, I think that is.
Mahabharata, and various Sanskrit scriptures. So let's take a look at the significance in their mythology. The sparrow is associated, like I said, with love and devotion. In the Ramayana, the story of Lord Rama and Sita is a classic example of the sparrow's significance in Indian mythology. It is believed that when Rama and Sita were banished from their kingdom, they spent their time in the forest. One day, Sita saw a sparrow being attacked by a hawk and asked Rama to save it. Rama shot an arrow, saving the sparrow, demonstrating his devotion to Sita. The sparrow's symbolism of love and companionship is also seen in the story of Radha and Krishna, where the sparrow represents Radha's longing for Krishna. In Indian poetry, the sparrow is a popular subject, with poets using the bird to represent various emotions and themes. One famous poem that uses the sparrow as a symbol is the Bengali poet
Rabindranath?
You did this on purpose.
No.
Rabindranath Tagore's sparrow. In this poem, Tagore describes the sparrow as a symbol of hope and resilience, suggesting that even though the sparrow is small and seemingly insignificant, it still has the power to overcome adversity. In the Indian culture, the sparrow has been revered as that symbol of love and companionship, devotion. And one famous story in this folklore, it tells a tale of a sparrow, which is similar to the Scottish legend they also mention in this blog. In this story, the sparrow helps a poor farmer build a house in exchange for a hole in the roof where it can build a nest. The sparrow's presence in the house brings good luck and prosperity to the farmer, demonstrating that the birds, it has great significance in this culture. And we're going to take a whole deep dive on nautical superstitions. And I thought there would be some connection there with sparrows and tattoos, like there is for swallows, but there isn't, because I get those confused sometimes. I'm like, oh, like they get them tattooed, but they're not. They're swallows.
Same.
Yeah, but in both Chinese and Indonesia, sparrows are seen as symbols of happiness and good news. The Chinese claim that a sparrow flying in your house indicates that good luck is on the way. In Indonesia, it is believed by some that the sparrow flies into a home, a member of the household will soon marry or give birth. So total flip-flop from, what the Owens are getting with the sparrow.
Well, look at, they say when one person dies, another soul is brought into the world. And Jet dies, and then Antonia has a baby.
Yeah.
Doesn't also Jillian have a baby?
Yeah, so
So,
sweet.
yeah.
It's true. Some superstitions have it that sparrows carry the souls of the dead, which we saw with Isabel, right? This belief resembles the ancient Egyptian view that sparrows and that of traditional sailors, some of whom would get sparrow tattoos, so they do get those tattooed, in hopes that the birds would catch and carry their souls should they die at sea. Therefore, it is bad luck to kill them. Perhaps we could accumulate some truth from the fictitious Jack Sparrow from the movie series Pirates of the Caribbean. Jack Sparrow's tattoo points to counterculture of freedom, expression, and self-determination, respected by those who choose to live outside of the bounds of structured society. You don't have to be Jack Sparrow, have a tattoo, or even a pirate to be considered valuable. Just be you. Okay. And then we have a little Bible here from Matthew chapter 10, 29 through 31. Jesus said, are not two sparrows sold? Oh, should I do this not the typical way? Are not two sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground apart from your Father's will? But the very hairs on your head are not numbered. Do not fear, therefore. You are more value than many sparrows. Don't know what that means.
Matthew
There's
10:29-31.
Yeah, there's nothing in this world more significant. God's concern for his creation is not just, quote, for the birds. Even the hairs on your head are valuable to him.
All right. Before we take a break, I did find a little bit on the sparrow or swallow. I think they're interchangeable. I mean, some sailors get sparrows, some sailors get swallows. But this says those types of tattoos are traditional for sailors, and they traditionally symbolize safe return from voyages, milestones reached at sea, and the spirit of adventure. And sailors would get these tattoos to represent their experience and the freedom of the sea. The sparrow is also believed to carry carry a sailor's soul to heaven after death. I guess any deaths at sea, because those voyages are often dangerous and intense, right? And specific meanings associated with sparrow tattoos for sailors are they usually get them for a safe return. A common belief was that sparrows would guide them home safely. They will also get them every milestone, so sparrows could represent a completion of a certain number of voyages or other significant achievements at sea. Some would get these types of tattoos every 5,000 nautical miles.
Goddamn.
Yeah, sailors would get a new sparrow tattoo for every 5,000 nautical miles traveled. Also, they represent carrying the soul to heaven. In some traditions, it was believed that a sparrow would carry a sailor's soul to heaven after death. And then experience at sea, some would just get sparrows tattoos to symbolize their time spent at sea in general. And then obviously we have Captain Jack Sparrow. The popularity of Johnny Depp's character in the Pirates of Caribbean movies also led to an increased interest in sparrow tattoos around that time when that movie came out. So,
Oh,
oh yeah, just some interesting, I guess, nautical facts about sparrow tattoos. Swallow tattoos, I guess they're interchangeable. But we're going to take a quick break right now, and when we return, we're going to do our weekly card pull and then deep dive into sparrow magic and lore. And the sparrow, we're going to talk about throughout folklore, poetry, and more religion, and the 4 myths about sparrows, solstice folklore and symbolism, and some sparrows and their ties to the number 3, and the 3 more about the threefold law, dreams, and so much more. So stick around, we will be right back.
Sunny flowers sublime. Tonight we shine.
back to your podcast.
And let me
Boom,
see.
bada
if
boom,
there was-
boom, boom,
I'm
boom.
not sure. I don't remember if there was a Sparrow card in here. Oh, look at that. There is a Sparrow card.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So welcome back, everybody. We're gonna do our we're gonna read from the Inner Witch Oracle deck. We're not gonna pull a card because there is a Sparrow card. So thanks, Joseph, for putting this in here because this is cool. Wasn't expecting this one. That's kind of like a deep cut, right?
For sure.
Yeah, so on this card, the keyword is trouble, also challenges. So this says when the sparrow comes up, the divine is telling you to prepare and pay attention. With this card comes turbulent and unstable energy. I'm wondering if this is kind of like synonymous with the Tower card of the Rider-Waite.
Interesting.
Because usually with the Tower card, that's like turbulent, turbulent energy, it's on its way. So this is saying the same thing. So with this card comes turbulent and unstable energy. There may be some current issues or struggles on the horizon. Prepare and learn from these issues and events. But with struggle and challenge comes great knowledge and growth. You can overcome this. Known in most folklore as the messengers, this tiny bird is something to pay attention to. Learn from the steadfast creature and buckle down. To better connect with this card, utilize its energy, a candle, pen, and a piece of paper, and write the affirmation on the paper, and carry it with you or leave on your altar. And when you are ready, tear your paper or you can burn it. And the mantra on this card says, I embrace the chaos and learn from any struggles. I think that's really interesting, the sparrow being the bird that's mostly synonymous with the summer solstice, and that, this is saying embrace the chaos. And look at what just happened this past weekend, like
Yeah.
with, the bombing of Iran. And
We need some sparrow energy.
yeah, so there's a lot of chaos going around right now. So I think, yeah, some sparrow energy is essential. And we did do a little bay leaf burning ritual at my solstice party. So I channeled that energy into releasing that chaos and
Putting
war
peace back out
and
there.
yeah, just bringing in that peace. And it was kind of heavy. A couple people were brought to tears at when we did that whole thing.
Yeah.
And
It's giving me chills just thinking.
yeah. It was an unexpected thing because, we didn't go into that gathering with that knowledge of what had happened.
You had it in like real time
Yeah. So
announcement.
it actually kind of like brought the mood down a little bit at the event. And it was kind of a bummer, but, we channeled it later on and kind of released some things. And it was nice to let that go.
Your group of beautiful women were supposed to learn about it then and there to be able to have the right tools and the right support system to then lift it back up and put out that peace and healing back out into the world together. You guys are wonderful together. Do you have any friends?
Yeah. What does Jet say? Or does she say something?
9 women?
Yeah.
12's better?
12's better or something like that. Exactly.
Okay, Franny, calm down.
Yeah.
Jet.
Yeah. So it was nice. It was nice to be able to channel that, pour that energy into something more positive and productive,
Yeah, totally.
Instead of sitting around worrying about, because we can't control all that. We have to learn that some things we can't control, and that's okay. We can only control our here present in the now,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the Sparrow card from the 2nd edition Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle. If you guys want to get that deck, head over to groundedbythemoon.com. You get 10% off your entire order if you use our coupon code Magnolia Magic. Anyway, moving right along, we're going to get back into some magic and lore. And first we're going to talk about the representation of the sparrow bird in folklore, poetry, and religion. Starting off with folklore, sparrows have been a part of folklore for centuries, often serving as symbols of love, loyalty, and friendship. One such story is the tale of the Leather House, a Scottish legend that tells the story of a group of sparrows who helped a man build a house in exchange for his promise to leave a hole in the roof. And this hole provided the sparrows with a safe place to nest and raise their young, and in return, they brought the man good luck and prosperity. But why is it called the Leather House,
I don't know.
Yeah.
There must be more to the story we're missing.
There must be more to that story. Is it like the sand house, that lady in Maria's Island when we did that episode?
So creepy.
That is.
I really think you need to read the Elementals. It's fucking spooky.
All right. Send me the link to that one.
Okay.
You know, Francesca Leah Block also has a book called The Elementals.
No shit. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I haven't read it in a while, so don't ask me anything about it. I
Okay.
forget what it's about. So next, the sparrow in poetry. Poets use the bird to represent various themes such as freedom, love, and the transience of life. One famous poem that uses the sparrow as a symbol is Emily Dickinson's Hope is the Thing with Feathers. In this poem, Dickinson compares hope to a sparrow, suggesting that it is small but powerful and that it can carry us through difficult times. In religion, in Christianity specifically, sparrows are often mentioned in the Bible as a symbol of God's love and care for all creatures, no matter how small. In Matthew 10:29-31, the one that I think that's the one you just read, right, Christina? Jesus says, "Are not two sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care." This verse suggests that even though sparrows are small and seemingly insignificant, they are still valuable to God. Despite the sparrow's cultural significance, their population has been in decline in recent years due to changes in land use, urbanization, and the use of pesticides. So, to help protect this beloved bird, individuals can provide them with safe spaces to nest and raise their young, and one way to do this is by installing birdhouses specifically designed for sparrows. So, a sparrow birdhouse should be made with specific dimensions to ensure the safety and comfort of these very small birds. The entrance hole should be about 1 1/8 inches in diameter, and the interior of the house should be at least 6 inches tall, 4 inches wide, and 6 inches deep. And these dimensions will accommodate the nesting habits of sparrows who prefer to build their nests in cavities. So, really
They're
cozy.
so little.
They're very little, yeah.
Little littles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute. Yeah, we have four more myths about sparrows, the birds we love to hate. This
Aw.
says the common house sparrow sits at the heart of the debate over nativity and invasiveness. And while it's sitting, it poops a little. Okay. They've always been there. This writer says, in my memories, pecking in the
Okay.
grass of family yards and hopping along sidewalks, flirting across the ceiling in shopping malls, nesting in light fixtures in grocery stores. House sparrows were the first birds this person ever saw. That might be true for you too. No sooner had we met, but I learned to disregard and disrespect them. Oh, okay. Yet they're hard to tune out completely. Sassy, scolding, and social, the common house sparrow is an ever-present companion in outdoor cafes, underground parking garages, taken for granted even as, or maybe because, it's so resilient even in the most sterile, intrusive human environments. Long ago, 11,000 years by some accounts, sparrows adapted themselves to the cluttered habits of expanding human settlements. They flocked to the outskirts of farms and actually transformed their digestive systems to absorb the kind of grains humans were growing. It became a love-hate thing ever since. Every long-term relationship will accumulate assumptions, and our reluctant bond with sparrows is no different. Some of those assumptions, of course, aren't true. Here are a few common myths about this common bird. So, myth number 1, that sparrows are overrunning the world. It says yes and no. To understand the world of sparrows, we start by distinguishing Passer domesticus, the most common old world sparrow, known mostly as a house sparrow, from other species, and from the New World sparrows, which actually aren't sparrows at all, which we will get into a moment. The common house sparrow really has made itself part of life on every continent but Antarctica. It's true. Accounts of their origin vary, but it seems to have been the Middle East, then North Africa, then the world. The common house sparrow has made itself part of life on every continent but Antarctica. Sparrows were once so common that they were used symbolically in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, the copper coins quote we did earlier from Matthew. Yet in recent decades, along with other birds, they've declined dramatically by as much as 80% according to some reports. Their absence is especially marked in northern Britain and India, where scientists have established a World Sparrow Day to raise awareness. This person on Turtle Island says, here on Turtle Island, North America, the steep decline in house sparrows has been met with such concern, largely because they're a very recent arrival. They've been here less than 200 years, and they compete with native bird populations, notably bluebirds, purple martins, and their own step cousins, the New World sparrows. I'm feeling like gang fighting, you know?
Yeah.
When it comes to the abundance or vexations of sparrows, place and perspective are everything. So it's commonly said that New York socialite and dandy eccentric Eugene Scheffelin introduced both house sparrow and the starling in this continent. in a mission to bring every bird mentioned in Shakespeare to our shores. Interesting.
Wait. I like how that was this person's goal. He's like,
yeah.
from this day, hence this day forth, I will bring every bird mentioned in Shakespeare to our
To
shore.
America.
That was his life's
Oh my
purpose.
Lord.
I love that.
Now they like plague our society to a degree in their own way, shape, and form.
I know.
It says that's picturesque but not true. While he was part of the movement to acclimatize foreign birds and plants into this land, he did indeed bring house sparrows to New York. He wasn't the first. The house sparrows were first imported to New York in 1848 by Brooklyn dentist Salmon Skinner.
Salmon Skinner?
Salmon, Salmon Skinner.
Yeah, that's Salmon Skinner.
Yeah, that good old Sam Skinner. Used for insect control, but they didn't survive, nor did subsequent shipments until 1852 when Nicholas Pike of Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Institute, succeeded where others had failed. Though Schieffelin imported his own house sparrows a few years later, there's no evidence that he was inspired by the bard. That reference came nearly 100 years later with an evidence-free assertion from Schifrin's role in releasing European starlings made by naturalist Edwin Way Teal. Man. But back to the sparrows. New York City's newest wildlife was the toast of the town, and her vivid stories of old world sparrows in New York. Blogger Peggy Gavin shares about the colorful accommodations prepared for the birds in the city's parks, giant oversized birdhouses, and hotels. These expensive homes and little wooden signs that read Sparrow's Hotels, Sparrow's Pavilion, Sparrow's Chinese Pagoda. Soon, an entire village appeared in treetops, including Sparrow's Doctor Shop, Sparrow's Restaurant, and Sparrow's Station House. Although the birds frequented all the parks in the city, they seemed to make Union Square their headquarters, says Peggy, 1853. There's an illustration here, also a link that says the English house sparrow who took up house and hotel in Manhattan. That's cool. It says New York's first surviving house sparrows were brought to Greenwood Cemetery Clock Bell Tower. Interesting. It's pretty.
Yeah, 50 birds were originally kept in the cemetery's bell tower, but they didn't seem to thrive there. So Brooklyn Institute trustee librarian John Hopper brought the sparrows to his house for the winter. In the spring of 1853, the birds were released into the cemetery where a man was employed to take care of them. It's like that lady from Home Alone. Remember that lady?
Yeah,
the bird lady?
The dove lady.
The dove lady?
Pigeon lady?
Pigeon lady, yeah. I guess like New York's got sparrows and pigeons, and
They got the voids.
Exactly. Lots of birds in New York, yeah.
Gavin conveys the desperation in New York from the 1850s over the infestation of tree caterpillars, which inspired the import of sparrows to eat them. The parks were infested with the tiny worms, which not only devoured tree leaves and shrubbery, but had a nasty habit of swinging from branches and crawling down people's shirt collars.
Oh!
No one knows what triggered the infestation of the elm spanworm. We had to have talked about this in our tree episode.
Yeah,
Don't you
wait.
think?
What kind of tree? I forget what kind of tree the alchemy tree was. Was it an elm?
Oh, what some listener go back and tell us what that tree was. I don't remember.
What was it? Or was it an oak? I think it was an oak. It was a red oak. Never
Okay.
mind. It wasn't an elm.
Yeah, so this infestation, which caused all the trouble. What is clear now is that this insect is native to the continent and sometimes known for getting out of hand, but ultimately not so harmful as the birds brought in to destroy it. So they made the problem worse.
Oh, God.
Sparrows took care of the caterpillars pretty efficiently. That's where the problem started. They were prolific breeders and scavengers, competitive with native birds for food and nesting, and had colonized the entire mainland of North America just 50 years after they arrived, yet they never repeated their early victory. In fact, new caterpillar nemesis arose soon after that, and because it was so spiny and hairy perhaps, it didn't appeal to them. By 1870, ornithologist Elliott Hughes had raised the alarm about the negative impacts of house sparrows. Hughes squared off with Thomas Mayo Brewer, who staunchly defended the bird's honor. Brewer had plenty of the support from the literary elites, poets, and philosophers like William Cullen Byron and Henry Ward Beecher, which Beecher invoked the old world sparrow's heroism against the marauding caterpillars, drawing unsavory and racist comparisons with creepy crawlers, and well, I'll let you decide. This is from The Old World Sparrow by William Cullen Bryant, 1869, and it says, "A winged settler has taken his place with the Teutons and men of Celtic race." Oh God, where's this going? "He has followed their path into our hemisphere. The old world sparrow at last is here. The insect legions that sting our fruit and strip the leaves from the growing shoot and swarming, skulking, ravenous tribe.
What?
What in the world? Let me read that last part again. And strip the leaves from growing shoot, a swarming, skulking, ravenous tribe. That did not rhyme
That
at the
doesn't even
end.
rhyme, William Cullen
What was
Bryant.
that? Do you want to take myth number 3?
Sure. So, myth number 3, house sparrows aren't hurting anyone. And there's a lot to admire about these adaptable creatures, and it certainly isn't their fault that they're here. Yet, their impact on native birds can be dire, especially on American bluebirds and other small cavity dwellers. House sparrows are aggressive in their nesting habits, capable of bullying and even murdering adult and baby birds alike if they want a space. They also compete with native birds for insects and seed. And this person says, in my own ordinary yard, I've been lucky so far and have no house sparrow nests that I know of, but I do have house sparrows. The variety of wild native birds we host seem to be doing fine, but we live in a closed-in suburb and I've never seen a single bluebird around here. Friends and associates who raise bluebirds have to do battle with sparrows all the time. There are a lot of deterrents, and one surefire solution is killing them, unfortunately. I didn't know sparrows were this much of a nuisance to like other birds.
I did not either.
Remember how we talked about how wasps were the gangsters of the bee world? It's like
Yes.
sparrows are the riffraff of the bird world, it seems, right?
They must hang out with blue jays. I hear blue jays are assholes also.
Yeah, they do seem like dicks. It's not the first time in the existence of sparrows that they have been hunted as a nuisance. They've been subject to bounties, most recently in Mao Zedong's China, where the native tree sparrow was seen as a threat to farming. Farmers were rewarded for the number of sparrow heads they brought in, and the goal was total eradication. It was called the Four Pests Campaign and led to the destruction of 1 billion sparrows. It was also an ecological disaster, causing insect populations to multiply without their natural predators. See, that's why you can't go fucking with shit in the ecosystem, because everything is here for a reason. You can't just completely eradicate an entire species of shit just because you don't like it.
Keep your little fingers out where it doesn't belong.
Exactly. And this author says, on my continent, we stop short of eradication campaigns, although the house sparrow is unprotected by any federal or state law, meaning that people are allowed to take matters into their own hands. I have no need to intervene or create violence in my own yard, but it is harder for me to judge anyone who takes measures to protect threatened native species. And then myth number 4, New World quote, sparrows are sparrows. When settlers arrived in the so-called New World, they began naming birds. Any small brown-bodied perching birds were candidates to be called sparrows. Hence, today we have the song sparrow, the tree sparrow, the chipping sparrow, and so forth. All birds native to Turtle Island. In fact, so-called New World sparrows are in a different family from their lookalikes, the Old World sparrows. Members of the Emberzidae family tend to have sweeter songs and different markings, such as striped breasts, fancy striped crowns, or the like. Of all the wondrous varieties, I am currently most in love with the song sparrow, partly because our yard has been graced with a pair or two this summer, and I hear them call through the trees and see them hop boldly close to me through the grass and soil to pick for food. Their song is a little reminiscent of the red-winged blackbirds. It's fun to catch them singing to, rearing their heads back and belting it out like a jazz chanteuse.
Cute.
Have you ever used that bird song app?
I have. Yeah. My boss is all about this Cornell lab ornithology bird song thing.
Yeah. So like, you know how there's the Picture This app for the identifying plants? It's called Picture Bird is the app that I use to identify bird songs.
Cute.
And it says like don't play it back because if you play fake bird sounds, it can actually harm the
Messes them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I could see that.
yeah. Interesting. Song Sparrow Sounds, All About Birds, Cornell Lab of Ornithology. This is an article from allaboutbirds.org. And this says, song sparrows are proving to be climate winners, hardy in habitats across the continent due to unique adaptation, variability, and body sizes. I've certainly been heartened to see them in my yard, this author says, holding their own amidst the usual mix of house sparrows and starlings. They aren't as shy as other birds I've met, so maybe one day our cities will be full of these cheeky native sparrows. Can you name that bird? One of my earliest ambitions as a naturalist was to learn my sparrows. Not just the house sparrow, but more specifically all of the native birds that we call sparrows. None of them are showy birds, although I can vouch for their spicy personalities. I long not only to identify species, but individuals, to know the birds as, well, persons. Like each individual one, I guess, has their own distinct
Oh,
personality.
yeah.
This author says, I haven't gotten there yet, not even remotely. I'm stuck at the species level. Birds of so many species are declining worldwide that it seems we are obligated to know them, if not on a first name basis, then at least on a common name basis. We can't act on what we don't even know. The lore and literature of sparrows through the years has emphasized the bird's commonness and specialness in the same thought. Shakespeare himself, blamed once for the house sparrow's import, said that there's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. When a species so invasive on this continent is approaching endangered status in the places where it is native, that special providence is up to us. How do we contribute to this? How are we perpetuating it? And what can we do to reduce harm? These aren't easy questions, especially now, when we are under pressure and time seems to be running out. And truly, the time is out of joint. And that is a quote from Hamlet.
Shakespeare.
Like a spur, yeah. So talking about birds, we briefly mentioned this before, birds as being bad omens, and this specifically comes from British folklore. The house sparrow is one of the most commonly seen birds in the country, but it was once thought to be the death omen in Sussex and Kent. And in European folklore, more generally, a sparrow flying into your house is a sign of impending death, and sailors got sparrow tattoos in hopes that one would catch their soul if they died at sea. In Sussex and Kent, the superstition was that if a sparrow flew into your house, you had to kill it or your parents would die.
Oh
And
my.
some variations, if you didn't kill it, then you would die. That a little bit about the bad omens in British folklore comes from cmrosens.com. We'll link that in our show notes. Getting into solstice folklore now. So, mysterious folklore surrounding the summer solstice, a moment in the year that has inspired countless myths, rituals, and tales across cultures. Whether you call it Midsummer, Litha, or simply the longest day of the year, the summer solstice has always been a time of deep magic and wonder. So let's set the scene. Imagine yourself standing on a hilltop at dawn. The sky is a wash of gold and rose. You're surrounded by the hush of the world holding its breath, because today the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. From this moment forward, daylight slowly begins to wane. It's a liminal moment, balanced between light and the coming dark. Throughout history, cultures around the world have seen the summer solstice as a powerful threshold, a time when the veil between worlds is thinner, when magic is at its peak. In ancient Europe, this was a time for bonfires, feasting, and dancing late into the night. The Celts called it Alban Hefn, the light of the shore. For them, the solstice marked a time to honor the sun god and to celebrate the fertility of the land and strengthen the light. In Slavic folklore, Midsummer is known as Kupala Night, a festival of water and fire. Young people would leap over fires to ensure health and luck. Women would float flower wreaths down rivers, divining their romantic futures based on where the wreaths drifted or sank. The water was believed to hold a special power on this night, blessed by the sun's strength. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this further down, but also Vikings did the boat rituals. They would send boats off of. I did the boat ritual in a solstice vlog some years back, and that was a lot of fun. I thought that was a beautiful one to do. Across Scandinavia, the summer solstice is marked by the raising of the maypole, a tall decorated pole encircled by dancers weaving colorful ribbons. It's a symbol of life force and fertility, with the pole itself seen as a phallic emblem and the circular dance around it representing the unity of sky and earth. Like we were talking about the spiral dance, where we wrote that.
Spiral dance of delight.
Exactly, in our song Summer Solstice. The bonfires of Midsummer are a reoccurring theme in many cultures. Fire was believed to protect against evil spirits, which, according to folklore, were especially active on this night. The flames also symbolize the sun's power, holding onto the sun's energy for the waning days to come. But it wasn't just fire. Plants and herbs gathered at the solstice were said to be at the height of their power. In England, St. John's wort was traditionally gathered on Midsummer Day and hung over doorways to ward off harm. In Germany, women wove garlands of mugwort and verbena, believed to bring protection and luck, both of which we've done episodes for, right?
Is verbena Mugwort's side chick?
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is our mugwort and wormwood fighting over verbena?
Oh.
It's like a
I
love.
always get, they're like, it's mugwort spice, right? So
Yeah.
that one's the feminine. Okay. The other
Yeah.
one's the masculine. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So that's our bestie. Mugwort and verbena are besties.
Or maybe it's
She's
a
the other spice.
love triangle, maybe. I don't know. The solstice also carried deep symbolic meaning for those who lived by the rhythms of the land. For farmers and herders, the solstice marked the peak of the growing season, a promise of abundance if the sun's blessing could be captured. And what about the sparrows or other birds and animals that show up at this magical hour? Many folk traditions say that birds, especially small ones like sparrows, are messengers or omens during this time. Hence, the Owens 3 times around the house ritual and then out the window.
Right.
Their movements on the solstice could be seen as portents. Flying close to the ground might foretell a coming storm. Circling overhead might signal a change in fortune or a message from the spirit world, which is the case for the Owenses, right? They usually circled overhead and then out the window. And
It's something new every year for them. It's like, okay, here's your next task.
Right,
That they
yeah.
want.
It mostly flew around them. So yeah, the one year was like the Isabel visitation. The other year might have been I don't remember. Did it circle before or after Jet had passed? I don't remember. So was it like an omen?
Either.
Was it an omen about her death, or was it a message from her after she had passed
I
up?
think it's after she passed on
Okay.
because like Franny gets it and then Raphael leaves.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe it was a message from her as well. This belief ties back to the idea of liminality, of standing at the threshold. The solstice itself is a threshold, the tipping point of the year where light begins to recede. In folklore, animals that appear at thresholds, like doorways or windowsills, were thought to carry messages from the other world. A sparrow circling the home, for instance, might be the sign of fate or the presence of spirits. And I like how Alice included that bit of that folklore in there. What's striking is how universal these themes are. Across continents, cultures that never spoke to one another still found meaning in the dance of the sun and the earth at this time. They saw the solstice as a chance to honor the bounty of life, to protect themselves from unseen forces, and to connect, whether to each other, to the land, or to something beyond. We love thinking about how these ancient traditions still resonate with us today. Even if we don't leap over bonfires or gather herbs at dawn, there's something in us that feels the turning of the year. Even if it's something as simple as just starting a bonfire in your backyard and throwing, old brush and like clearing the energies for that time.
You're involved with the elements. Like that, it's so simple. You have the earth in the stick, the fire in the flame, the air fueling the fire, and like the water in your 90 something percent water.
Yeah.
So like you're all together.
Right. The way the days grow long and golden, the way the air seems to hum with possibility, it's a reminder to celebrate the light and to honor the shadow that will inevitably follow. So tonight, wherever you are, and this goes for even shortly after the solstice, right? I think we decided that you have up until the next Sabbath to, just enjoy the solstice and the solstice energies and
Yes.
the sun,
Bring
right?
it through to Lammas, right?
Right.
August 1st.
Right.
Like all of July.
Exactly. So tonight or this month, wherever you are, take a moment to stand in the last rays of the solstice sun, feel that ancient heartbeat, and remember that you are part of something so much older and deeper than you know. If you'd like to dig deeper into these stories and symbols, check out our show notes for sources and further reading. We'll link them all in the description below. And let the solstice remind you that even in the longest days, there's a touch of magic waiting to be found. So we're going to get into the power of 3 now. So Christina, why don't you take us through that? Because you are a life path 3, aren't you?
That is my life path number. We'll talk about that shortly. So learning about this single digit 3, let's start there. The number 3 is one of 9 very important symbols in numerology, the single digit numbers. Each of the numbers 1 through 9 in numerology has different meanings, like its own personality that sets it apart from others. Justina is an 8. By understanding the unique personality traits of these numbers, we can better understand their influence and their guiding messages. Whether they show up in a numerology reading or seem to appear over and over in our lives, like Justina's 4s, is a sign that there's opportunity waiting for us. When it comes to the optimistic number 3, communication, connection, and unbridled creativity, these are all opportunities in store. So what is the definition of 3 in numerology? 3 has a tendency to thrive in an upbeat and engaging atmosphere. Its energy is youthful and positive. If it's on some medication, doesn't help. And it has an incredible zest for life. It dances from one enjoyable experience to the next, eager to interact with others along the way. The prize skill of the number 3 is communication, and it uses this talent to build a wide and interesting circle of friends, lovers, and kindred spirits. The 3 is highly original and embraces unique. Have you seen Eurovision with Will Ferrell in it?
Yeah.
The Russian guy, unique. Unique thinking and creative expression. The number's artistic, curious nature allows it to convey abstract ideas and find solutions others may miss. A child at heart, the number 3 never misses a chance to have fun, engage with others, and express all the love and joy it embodies.
I wonder if you have a little extra oomph because you're a Gemini plus a number 3. And
Oh,
like a little
yeah.
sign of they're both the signs of communication, you know?
I'm wondering, like, yeah, how does that's interesting because I
Right?
know you add up your birthday a certain
Yeah.
way and then you remove, right?
Right. So
So,
it's all in the math. It has nothing to do with the zodiac. So the fact that you're both, that's really cool.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So, what are its strengths? We talked about communication through and through, and it shines in all forms and expressions. Even though my brain works faster than my mouth, you know, we adapt. Justina's learned to read between the lines
Yeah.
sometimes, I think. Bursting with thoughts, ideas, dreams, and musings, and must let them out to the world. Number 3 is the ideas person, and by sharing these notions, it attracts supportive energies, and that turns the ideas into these real plans. Artistic, love music, color, creation, anything that engages the senses has the number 3 written all over it. It realizes the written and spoken word can only take us so far, and words can communicate ideas, but to express our feelings, we need the unparalleled power of art. I like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, we're charming. The number 3 has an easy time attracting other people and its magnetic personality. Its lighthearted demeanor and ability to communicate well combine to create a natural charisma that gets and keeps others' attention. I don't know about that.
That's
Without
I would say we're pretty charismatic. I don't
Yeah,
know.
together, yeah, but the amount of times I get like talked over, I'm like, "Nah, fuck you." You know what I
Aw.
mean?
Yeah.
But here, we're in our domain
Yes.
together. Yeah, without even trying, number 3's in numerology. It's the apple of everyone's eye.
At least you're the apple of mine.
Mr. Apples. What is its expression? This says that number 3's, do your math, find out your number. Your purpose is communication, learning to express yourself clearly and meaningfully. Yes, words are your primal tool, so be mindful not to misuse them. Finding balance between speaking too much and too little is crucial. I find that I over explain a lot. Like, you don't need all that, right? The number 3 is linked to creativity, humor, social charm. You have a distinctive voice that can inspire others when used with honesty and authenticity. However, you can fall into shallow chatter, gossip, or constant self-consciousness, often because of a fear of vulnerability. You tend to downplay your feelings and maintain cheerful facade, hiding sadness and anger. We kind of went over a lot of this in
Yeah.
our burn episode. What's it called?
Wait, what burn episode? Like
Yeah.
fire
Uh,
episode?
no.
What episode?
Roast, our roast.
I'm like, what burn episode? Yeah, the roast.
Yeah. Yeah. True happiness comes from when you share from the heart, not just to please others. Listen as much as you speak and let go of fear of judgment. Your tendency to scatter your energy in many directions can keep you from finishing what you start. Focus on your challenges. See, I'm like, we can't go on tour. We don't have music out yet.
But now we do, so we can.
That's right. 3 is also the number of beauty, humor, and social connection. Your appearance and style may matter deeply to you, but remember that real attractiveness comes from emotional openness. Don't get stuck in the past or people pleasing. Instead, embrace your complex feelings and express them creatively. When you speak from your true self, you light up the world with your originality and optimism. Learn to trust your emotions, release old pain, and see the difference between surface joy and real happiness. Ultimately, your path is about turning your communication gifts into meaningful connection and creative impact, which I feel this is the biggest focus with our podcast is finally channeling the words into beautiful music with you and art and humor and knowledge and we're the whole package.
All the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that said, let's talk about the rule of 3. So this is an ancient principle of storytelling in which words, characters, or events occur in patterns of 3. Humans are pattern-loving creatures. In fact, to be honest, all living organisms are. Pattern recognition helps us make sense of a chaotic world, predict what may happen next, and acquire response behaviors that can become virtually instantaneous in the face of danger. Quite simply, our brains need patterns in order to learn and remember and adapt. Pattern recognition helps us survive, so we crave it. Like, how many times do you see, like, a glass sitting on the edge? Like, I don't know, does Aaron ever leave a glass on the edge? Or like Avi leaves his like huge torpedo jug of a water bottle on the edge of the table all the time. And I have to be like, I have to move it and be like, you can't leave that there because if that falls, it's going to kill one of our fucking cats.
Yes. Yeah. The habits that
Right.
are just so second nature to somebody, but you see that pattern of like,
Mhm.
that's not for the best in our household here.
Exactly. So those kinds of things is like, what's going to keep us and those around us safe, right? So that yes, pattern recognition helps us survive. That's why we crave it. And because things which are highly patterned are more memorable than things that are not, stories and songs and advertising jingles, they all use rhythm and rhyme and repetition, repeated patterns of sound, to help people remember them. So now we understand why we love things that appear in patterns, and especially as songwriters, right? Like it tickles that dopamine bone in our brains that like being able to make things rhyme and flow with a melody. Like I guess, yeah, humans are pattern loving creatures. So
Yes.
if you're a songwriter, all the better because
I could feel that when we were recording because there were some things that we had a certain way. And I'm like, in my mind, probably because I've heard it similarly, like elsewhere in another song or melody. And I'm like, it feels like it has to go da 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 ba ba, or like that. You just
did you just
know
sing the
because
McDonald's jingle or was that the Burger King jingle? Ba da ba ba ba.
da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum.
Ba-da-ba-bum. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, now we understand why we love things that appear in patterns. But why the number 3, though? Basically, 3 is the smallest number of elements required to create a pattern. It is the only number which equals the sum of all the numbers below it, which apparently led Pythagoras to call it the noblest of numbers. Unsurprisingly, math's not our greatest strength, but, we can kind of surmise what that means. And it's a key number in the Fibonacci sequence as well, often called the golden ratio for the fascinating way in which it appears in art and in mathematics and in nature. Flower petals, seed heads, spiraling shells, hurricanes, and spiral galaxies all adhere to the same ratio. And don't they say, like, sometimes bad things, or maybe even good things, happen in 3s?
Indeed. Yeah. If there's like one death and another follows pretty close behind, and then you're in the
Like,
church,
shit.
like, who's it going to be next?
Yeah, you're like, hope it's not me. Yeah. So the pattern of 3 appears in such common everyday things, such as past, present, future, birth, life, death, heaven, earth, hell, the 3 fates, maiden, mother, crone, like the triple goddess, right? Son, Father, and Holy Spirit, blood, sweat, tears, scissors, paper, rock, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm sure there's a lot more, but those are just like few of the famous ones. But we're most particularly concerned with the rule of 3 in storytelling. So it's worth taking a look at the oldest of all human stories, myth, fairy tales, and folk tales, where, unsurprisingly, we see the number 3 appearing again and again and again. I like how they did that. The again 3 times.
Sneaky.
So Vladimir Prop was a Russian folklorist and linguist who rigorously studied thousands of his country's folktales in order to identify their simplest narrative functions. In his book, Morphology of the Folktale, published in 1928, he identified a basic and fundamental rule of narrative structure that he called trebling. Trebling appears most obviously in folktales and nursery rhymes such as The 3 Little Pigs, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, and 3 Blind Mice. Also, wasn't Goldilocks? Yes, The 3 Little Pigs, The 3 Bears, and the 3 Blind Mice. Why do nursery rhymes like the number 3, right?
Yeah, weird. I
Very
didn't
weird.
notice that at all.
Very weird.
And isn't the Berenstain Bears, is that 3 bears? Or is it 4?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter. Let's keep going.
But that's like a whole other Mandela effect, right? The
Yeah.
spelling of that name. So, however, we also have Rumpelstiltskin and his 3 spinnings of straw into gold, and then the queen's 3 chances to guess his name. The wicked stepmother tries to kill Snow White 3 times with 3 poisoned objects, and in the earliest versions of Cinderella, she goes to the ball and dances with the prince 3 times. And doesn't she also have 3 stepsisters?
2.
Was it 2 stepsisters?
Yeah. But you get 3 wishes with a genie.
That's true too. Yeah, so like it's all over like myth and fairy tale and folklore, right? More than we probably recognize or we even stop
Yeah.
to think about. And now that we're like going over them all, it's like holy shit. Like
It's
I
gonna
never
be everywhere.
never realized that before. So here are some of the ways that trebling appears in literature. So trebling in the use of language looks like this. The use of 3 adjectives or phrases, as in these famous quotations: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Friends, Romans, and countrymen. I came, I saw, I conquered, or Veni Vidi Vici in Latin. And Mary Oliver's Tell Me What It Is You Plan to Do with Your One Wild and Precious Life.
I want to say something. I sent you an Instagram picture earlier, and it was the power of 3.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to post that, which is interesting. It's a bunch of photos
Oh,
of
yeah, I
the
did see
3 witch tropes. So like the Sanderson sisters are 3, the witches of Eastwick, the witches of East End, Sabrina and her 2 aunts, like the Nancy, Bonnie, and
Michelle.
yes.
There's
And
4.
like
There's 4 in the craft.
but initially there were only 3.
Yes,
So
you're right.
which I find interesting because in practical magic, we don't have that.
Right.
There's like a deviation of math there.
Well, there's not 3 in practical magic per se, but there's 3 generations. You have the aunts, you have Sally Gillian, and then you have Kylie and Antonia. So there's 3 generations on the screen, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it is portrayed in a different way, but yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. As far as elements go, trebling in individual elements, we often see patterns of 3 in individual motifs or symbols, such as in the braid of impossibly long hair in Rapunzel, or the 3-headed dog of Hades, or the 3-headed giant in Jack the Giant Killer. And trebling in characters looks like this. So if a protagonist is part of a family, there are usually 3 siblings of the same sex, as in Cinderella and her 2 stepsisters, or King Lear's 3 daughters, or the brothers in the Romany fairy tale An Old King and His 3 Sons. If so, the youngest and humblest will be the protagonist. Often, the 2 older siblings set out on some kind of quest, but they fail. The youngest is the one who usually succeeds in the task, even though he or she may be scorned, mocked, or denigrated by older siblings. This is usually recorded as try and fail, and try and triumph. So they try and fail twice, but then the last time they triumph on the 3rd time.
Oh.
Yeah. And then trebling in narrative patterns, i.e. 3 tests, 3 tasks, 3 trials. So the rule of 3 is very prevalent in narrative patterns in which the protagonist must overcome 3 obstacles before they can triumph. In this case, the difficulty increases with each obstacle. Usually the first 2 attempts result in failures, and the final third in triumph, i.e. the house of straw, the house of sticks, the house of bricks in The 3 Little Pigs. Another example of the try and fail, try and triumph pattern. So I guess that, it's just saying that that's another example. In some myths and fairy tales, the protagonist succeeds at each task, but the 3rd is the hardest and the most crucial. I guess like the big boss of
The big boss.
playing a video game.
Yeah.
So for example, in the story of the Golden Bird, the 3rd son must rescue a golden bird, then a golden horse, and then a princess to save the life of his king. 3 trials or ordeals is less common. The most famous occurrence is the Norse myth of Odin, who endured 3 torments upon the world tree in his quest for wisdom. He hanged himself, he wounded himself with a spear, and then he suffered from hunger and thirst. Then you have the 3 gifts or 3 magical helpers. Sometimes the protagonist is given 3 gifts, as in the east of the sun, west of the moon, and the singing, springing lark. In this case, it is the 3rd and final gift that helps the heroine win the day and rescue her beast husband. And so we again see the pattern of try and fail, try and triumph. In other stories, the protagonist will be helped by 3 magical helpers, as in the story of Psyche and Cupid, in which an ant, a reed, and an eagle assist her in succeeding at impossible tasks set by the goddess Aphrodite. Again, the 3rd task is the most difficult. Then we have the 3 revelations. Sometimes the rule of 3 applies to 3 revelations or epiphanies that bring about radical transformation, such as in Charles Dickens's novella A Christmas Carol. Oh, that's right, that's also 3.
Yeah.
The protagonist Ebenezer Scrooge receives visits from 3 spirits: the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and finally the ghost of Christmas yet to come. To him, Scrooge says, "Spirit, I fear you most of all." Each ghost opens his eyes to some aspect of his past, teaching him some kind of lesson, which transforms him utterly by the end of the story.
How did we have back-to-back episodes with Charles Dickens mentions?
God. So weird.
Just wants to be seen.
I know, yeah, I guess so. And then we have the threefold structure. The rule of 3 can also be seen more subtly in narrative structure. Northrop Frye in Anatomy of Criticism said stories have 3 main stages: the perilous journey and the preliminary minor adventures, the crucial struggle, usually some kind of battle in which either the hero or his foe, or both, must die, and the exaltation of the hero. In myths from around the world, we see journeys to the underworld adhere to the pattern of descent, search, and ascent. And of course, the well-known three-act structure of the dramatic arc, usually expressed as problem, confrontation, resolution, right? Every story needs a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Those are all the, I guess, the threefold tropes throughout literature. Now let's talk about the Wiccan Threefold Law, because this one is more closely synonymous with that of the symbolism of the sparrow flying around that Owens house 3 times, right?
And our path, our personal paths.
Exactly. Also known as the Rule of Three or the Threefold Law, it's part of many, but not all Wiccan traditions. It states that every magical act sent out into the universe, whether positive or negative, will be returned to the witch 3 times. This is somewhat akin to the concept of karma found in some Eastern religions, but with a Western twist, as it applies a specific equation, quote, 3 times, to the return of the energy sent out by the practitioner. Just what does 3 times mean, however? Some people believe that the magical work will be returned in 3 individual instances. For example, if you worked a harmful spell against somebody that you dislike, you could end up experiencing bad luck on 3 different occasions, like a car breakdown, a horrible day at work, and burning your dinner, to name 3 different random possibilities. Others interpret, quote, 3 times to be a multiplier, meaning that the consequences for you will be 3 times stronger than the intention that you set out for that person that you wanted to harm, right? So you might end up with far worse luck than the car trouble or a bad day.
That's what I've always taken it as. It's going to come back to you much worse.
Right, exactly. So the origins of the Threefold Law are a bit murky, but the idea is generally traced back to Gerald Gardner, who raised it in his early fictional work about witchcraft, but did not include it as a major part of his teachings. Later witches who learned from Gardner's initiates, most notably Raymond Buckland, brought the concept into more widespread awareness. It is also referred to in the long poem known as the Wiccan Rede, which contains adages and advice regarding magical traditions and spiritual beliefs. Nonetheless, there were many others involved in the origins of Wicca who did not encounter teachings on the Threefold Law and who doubted that there was a special karmic rule that involves the number 3 and only applies to witches. Today, some Wiccans view it as just a playful elaboration on the ethical stance against causing others harm. Others take it quite literally, while still others pay it no mind at all. Those who dismiss the Threefold Law generally point to other concepts, namely the law of cause and effect and the law of return, as being more accurate explanations for the karmic exchange involved in magic. At the very least, the Threefold Law serves to remind us that there are consequences to our actions, whether those consequences come in 3s or not. And I've seen some hot takes over on the TikTok. I forget, there's one witch that I follow, I can't remember her name, but she was basically bashing the Threefold Law. She's like, I don't fucking buy it. It was invented by the patriarchy. It was created by a man. Then she named Gerald Gardner. Yeah, so she was like, I don't buy it. I don't pay it any mind because it was created by the patriarchy to instill fear in us about our beliefs and our power. It's meant to control us into some sense of like being scared to use your fullest power that you have inside of you. So,
Maybe like your more offensive magic. It's like, are you sure you want to do that?
yeah,
Kind of thing.
right.
That's an interesting take. I never thought of it that way. I always thought of it as just like your moral compass, like choose kindness when it's deserved,
I
you know?
think her stance was more like, listen, if somebody's gonna come at me, I'm gonna fuck them up, and I'm not gonna give a shit about the Threefold Law. Like,
I got,
and
yeah, I get that.
she's like, I'm not gonna. I don't know if she said this, but it's basically like the mentality, like she's not gonna sit around waiting for karma to do its job. I guess she's just trying to speed up the process. I don't know.
I get that. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So there you go. That's the Threefold Law. So that was from wiccanliving.com. We will link that in our show notes. And I'm moving on to Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces, which is primarily focused on the hero's journey as a universal mythic archetype. It also touches upon triadic structures within mythology. Campbell's work highlights the recurrence of 3-part narratives and symbolic structures in various cultures, often representing cycles of creation, destruction, and rebirth, or other related themes. Some triadic symbols and archetypes. The book analyzes various mythic symbols and archetypes that frequently appear in triads, such as the mother-daughter and daughter-in-law triad, or the 3 fates who decide a person's destiny. And then you have the 3-act structure. Many myths and narratives, including those analyzed in Campbell's work, follow a 3-act structure with a rising starting action, a climax, and a falling action. So going back to the literature stuff we were talking about before. And the power of 3, Campbell recognized the significance of the number 3 in mythology, noting its prevalence in various cultural narratives and symbols. So just, I
We've
guess,
been talking about the number 3 indirectly over the last 3 seasons because we did talk about the fates. We have talked about hair magic and braiding. We
Yeah.
have talked about Cerberus, the Hades dog, 3-headed dog. We did our dog episode.
Yeah.
It's just like so subtle.
Wasn't there another triad that we were talking about? I forget what episode it was or what it was in relation to, but it was like Hecate and like 2 other Artemis, maybe? Remember we were like talking about there were 3 goddesses that were linked. So there's this thing called the triad of Artemis, Selene, and Hecate.
No
And
shit.
this comes from classicalwisdom.com. We will link this in our show notes if you guys are interested in going down the rabbit hole further than I did. But the origins, I wanted to speak about the origins of this triad. So in classical and Hellenistic religion, this trio of goddesses were very popular and appear to have been part of the public religion of Rome in particular. They were often worshipped by women, and they were seen as being very well disposed to mothers and their children. Artemis was one of the most popular goddesses in the Hellenic world, and there were many temples and festivals held in her honor. Similarly, there were shrines to Hecate at many entrances. The Romans adopted many Greek deities, including this trio of goddesses. They worshipped Selene under the name of Luna. Artemis was known as Diana, and Hecate was referred to as Trivia. At some point, the Romans began to conflate the 3 goddesses, possibly in the Republican era based on images on coins. This was because the 3 shared many characteristics. Most prominently, all 3 were female and associated with the moon. So I'm wondering if they were like the triple goddess, kind of, you know?
Yeah, keep going.
So they were thought to protect or favor those who invoked them. The triad is part of a tradition of triple deities that are common in mythologies around the globe. Some believe that grouping of the goddesses in a triad reflects the influence of Celtic mythology, but this is controversial. Now we'll talk about the worship of Hecate, Artemis, and Selene. Much of what we know about the triad of goddesses comes from Roman era period from the 1st through 5th century AD. References to the goddesses are made by Seneca the Younger, as well as the epic poets Statius and Nonnus. From these, we can see that the triad of Artemis, Selene, and Hecate was often worshipped in groves, which were believed to be sacred to Artemis. It appears that the triad was also worshipped at shrines sacred to Hecate and Selene, and the triad was believed to have the combined attributes and powers of all of the 3 goddesses. In the Roman era, they were regarded as the protector of travelers and associated with the world of the spirits. In the tragedy Phaedra by Seneca, the heroine prays to the triad to make her beloved return her love. And it should be noted that the worship of the triad did not mean that the individual goddesses lost their identity or role in Greco-Roman religion. They were often known as Hecate the Triple Goddess or Three-Faced Selene and worshipped as a group because of their close associations and were not viewed as a single divinity. It appears that the triad was very popular with magicians and those who practiced magic, which was ubiquitous in the ancient world. This is evident from surviving papyri, I guess like papyrus scrolls or whatever paper that they used to write on, right?
Yes.
Surviving papyri that have been unearthed in the deserts of Egypt, which record magical incantations and spells. There are many references to Hecate in her triple aspect in surviving Greco-Roman magical papyri, and specific references to her as being part of the triad. Hecate was associated with magic and witches, while Selene and Artemis were associated with the moon and the night. The trio may have been conflated and grouped together to make a spell more efficacious, and this became a convention. So in conclusion, triads of gods were very common in the ancient world. Hecate, Selene, and Artemis were not aspects of the same god, but were worshipped as a group because of their similarities. The conflation of the deities was most common during the Roman era, especially during the Empire. The triad was very popular, and it appears that based on ancient magical papyri that the group of goddesses were important in witchcraft and magic. So that excerpt about the goddess triad was from our Season 2, Episode 86, Lavender for Luck, Magic, and Lore. I knew we talked about that. So what are we talking about next?
Lastly, let's get into some dreams. I did find a very shorty one in Brasidia. Do you want me to lead with that or end with that? It's so short.
I guess let's end with it.
Okay, so in dreams, sparrows often represent new beginnings, joy, and optimism. Seeing a sparrow in your dreams could indicate that you are feeling hopeful, optimistic about the future. It could also be a sign that you're about to embark on a new journey or chapter in your life. Additionally, sparrows can symbolize good luck, or seeing one in your dream could be a sign that you are about to experience some good fortune. However, the meaning in your dream may vary depending on the context in which you see the sparrow. For example, if you see a sparrow flying high in the sky, it could be a sign that you're feeling ambitious and motivated. If you see a sparrow perched on a branch, it could be a sign that you are feeling peaceful and content. And if you are seeing a sparrow sing, it could be a sign that you are feeling happy and optimistic about the future. But I guess if you're seeing one in distress or dead or in trouble, just pay attention and be careful out there. Overall, seeing a sparrow in your dreams is generally positive. It can indicate that you're feeling hopeful, optimistic, and joyful. Also a sign that you are about to embark on a new journey, chapter of your life, that you're about to experience that good fortune.
So dreams about a sparrow flying. So dreaming about a sparrow flying can symbolize a variety of things depending on the context of the dream. Generally, sparrows are associated with communication, joy, and freedom. Seeing a sparrow flying in your dream could indicate that you are feeling positive and optimistic about the future. It could also suggest that you're feeling a sense of freedom and independence. If the sparrow is flying high in the sky, it could be a sign that you are reaching for your goals and aspirations. It could also indicate that you're feeling confident and capable in your abilities. Alternatively, if the sparrow is flying low to the ground, it could suggest that you are feeling grounded and connected to your roots. It could also indicate that you're being practical and realistic in your approach to life. The sparrow's flight pattern can also provide insight into the meaning of the dream. If the sparrow is flying in a straight line, it could indicate that you are focused and determined in your pursuit of your goals. If the sparrow is flying in zigzags, 2 weeks straight,
Back and forth.
2 weeks straight pattern, it could suggest that you're feeling indecisive or uncertain about your direction in life. Like, do you want the jelly donut or do you want the jelly donut with the cream? Overall, dreaming about sparrow flying is a positive sign that is associated with feelings of joy, freedom, and optimism. It also can indicate that you're feeling confident and capable in your abilities. However, the specific meaning of the dream will depend on the context of the dream and the individual dreamer's personal association with sparrows.
And if you're catching a sparrow in your dream, this could reflect your tenacious and determined nature in pursuing your goals and ambitions. This dream is a sign of your relentless pursuits of what you desire, even in the face of challenges and obstacles. Your dream suggests that you have the perseverance and determination to overcome any hurdle that comes your way. You are not afraid to take calculated risks and work hard to achieve your objectives. I'm not going to lie, I probably would not be able to say that's a sparrow if one landed.
Right, same.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Furthermore, this dream could be an indication that you are in a phase of your life where you are focused on building and strengthening your relationships with others. You may be actively seeking meaningful connections and networking opportunities to expand your social circle or advance your career. Alternatively, the dream could also signify a need for self-reflection and introspection. It encourages you to slow down and pay attention to your inner thoughts and feelings. You may be neglecting your emotional needs or suppressing your true desires, leading to a sense of an imbalance in your life.
Here we go, dreaming of a sparrow flying into a house. What does that mean for the Owens family? Well, if you dream of it anyway, right? A sparrow flying into your house in a dream carries several symbolic interpretations. First of all, positive energy. Sparrows are often associated with joy, happiness, and positive change. Their appearance in your dream could signify the arrival of good news, exciting opportunities, or a period of optimism and renewal. Renewals and new beginnings. Sparrows are migratory birds, and their presence in your dream might symbolize the start of a new chapter in your life. It could be a reminder to let go of the past, embrace fresh perspectives, and take steps toward new endeavors. They also represent spiritual growth and transformation, because sparrows are known for their resilience and adaptability, and their presence in your dream might suggest that you're going through a period of personal growth and transformation. It could be a sign that you're developing new skills, overcoming challenges, embracing a more mindful and spiritual approach to life. Sparrows are sometimes seen as harbingers of unexpected events. Their sudden appearance in your house in a dream could indicate that something unexpected is on the horizon. And it doesn't say a death, but I mean, maybe it is veering in that direction. But it could also be a surprise visit from a loved one, a sudden change in circumstances, or an opportunity that arises out of the blue. It's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah. Good luck.
So we don't know what you're gonna get, but just be ready for it. So yeah, and then we have renewal and healing. Sparrows are often associated with renewal and healing. Dreaming of a sparrow flying into your house might symbolize the start of a healing journey, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. But it could be a sign that you're ready to let go of past hurts, forgive yourself and others, and embrace a more positive and hopeful outlook on life.
Yeah. And let's kind of teeter over into the more negative. If you have a dream of killing a sparrow, dreams of killing a sparrow suggest that you are feeling trapped and suffocated in your current situation. You may feel like you're being held back and prevented from reaching your full potential. This dream could also be a sign that you are being too critical of yourself and need to learn to be a little more forgiving. Additionally, it could be a warning that you are about to make a mistake that will have negative consequences.
I'm wondering if it's like also like if you're dreaming of a caged sparrow, it's kind of like that feeling of lack of freedom or feeling trapped in your current situation as well. And then lastly here, dreaming of a sparrow flying out of a window. This is often interpreted as a sign of release and freedom. The sparrow, a symbol of joy and optimism, represents the dreamer's longing to break free from constraints and embrace new possibilities. The window, like the window in our song, right? And the window that Jillian escapes through. The window, a symbol of transition and change, signifies the dreamer's readiness to let go of the past and embark on a new journey. I wonder if Jillian had any dreams of sparrows.
I hope she did.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
Right, yeah. And maybe she had a dream of a sparrow flying out of the window.
She probably has a bird tattoo somewhere.
Yeah, maybe on her ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. This dream could indicate that the dreamer is feeling stifled or confined in their current situation and desires a change of scenery or a fresh start. It could also be a sign that the dreamer is ready to take risks and explore uncharted territories, both physically and emotionally. And the sparrow flying out of the window can be seen as a metaphor for the dreamer's spirit yearning for freedom and adventure. That is so Jillian, you know?
It is. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jillian was a bird. That's
She's a little
she'd be a
sparrow.
sparrow.
Yeah.
And then in Bersedia, Ryan's Encyclopedia, the ultimate dictionary of dream language. If you dream of a sparrow, you will receive a gift of a beautiful caged bird. This is a lucky omen.
Okay.
They kind of got lazy.
Yeah.
I think with this book.
Where's the 3 days? I thought she was supposed to give us a time.
3 days, right? She's always telling us 3 days. Wait a weekend, and you'll get it.
Yeah. All right, I think that's all we have for today for Sparrow. That felt short, but like we're still recorded till 7 o'clock.
I know. Yeah, I think that was a nice for something that's so small in the books.
Right.
Like I liked that. I really liked how the 3 came into play, and we got to revisit like Faith's ultimate decision to, kind of start this snowball effect that goes on through the generations.
And we got to revisit last year's summer solstice episode and our beautiful song that we wrote. Yeah. It's not about the clothing.
It doesn't have to be about the
It
clothing.
doesn't have to be clothing.
I want it to be about the clothing because they decided.
I like how you're like, well, you could just like kick off your sandals. I'm like, well, anybody can kick off their sandals.
That's a lot of syllables we're working with.
We're so stupid. I love us though. God. All right, guys. If you want to support the podcast, here's how you could do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. That's our seedling tier, and that gets you access to our patron-only polls where you get to weigh in on what topics you would like us to talk about next. It also gets you our monthly calendar so you can see what topics we have coming up for the month, and it also gets you a welcome shout out on the show. Our $3 lavender bud tier gets you our show notes for each episode in an aesthetically pleasing PDF, our after hours posts, if there's any extra tidbits or behind the scenes info pertaining to any of our episodes, we'll post those along with a blog post or extra photos, and access to our specially curated Spotify playlists. We have created playlists for our WMSR episodes as well as Production Dream playlists for each song episode, and more. Our $5 Lilac tier gets you access to our private Facebook community where we host a monthly live stream. Plus, you'll get access to our Discord server where we host our monthly watch parties. And also on the Discord, you can join in on the discussion with other Magnolia Street neighbors via the various interesting channels and threads. And then here's the $8 Rose tier. This gets you access to extra audio-visual content such as a once a month full-length video episode, unlimited bonus videos, uncut footage, cutting room floor footage, bloopers, outtakes, meditations, exclusive interviews, and old home videos from the vault, or spell or ritual videos, and more. It also gets you bonus content to coincide with our song-assos, such as full-length demo streams of our original Practical Magic inspired music, plus lyric sheets, guitar chords, and original scratch demos, or bonus video performances of our songs and more. Lastly, we have our $15 Wisteria Vine tier. Just like a twisting Wisteria Vine, there's a way for you to stay connected with us, the Stinas. In this tier, we invite you to join our private Marco Polo video messaging app. The app is totally free for both Android and iOS. Sign up with your phone number or email, and we will help you do the rest. This is a great way to chat with each other in a more intimate group setting, face-to-face via video recording. We love to show each other our pets, our gardens, or anything else you'd like to share. And just a reminder that the higher the tier you sign up under, the more rewards you get, because you get all of the rewards of the tiers below it. You can upgrade or downgrade or even cancel at any time. So to support the podcast, head to patreon.com/Magnolia Street Podcast.
Yeah, and there are additional ways to support us and our podcast that don't cost you any money. If you do listen on Spotify, please give us a star rating. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a written review. We love sharing those on our Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, we would really appreciate any reposts or blurbs about our podcast. And make sure to tag us at Magnolia Street Podcast in your feed, posts, stories, and share us with your Practical Magic loving friends.
Yeah, and just a reminder that you guys can now stream our debut EP, Welcome to the Neighborhood, the Magnolia Street Sessions, Volume 1, on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. But if you would like to support us directly and put a little change into our cosmic bank, head on over to www.thestinasofmagnoliastreet.bandcamp.com. And thank you so much to everybody who has bought our album thus far and have been streaming it over and over again. And Mallory was just marking us, telling us how she's on tour right now, so she was like streaming it in different cities to make sure we got the numbers in the different cities. And I'm like,
girl,
thank you.
that's incredible.
Yeah, our hearts are just so full with all the feedback you guys have all been giving us, and we are just so, I don't know, I'm speechless. I'm
still overwhelmed. I know it's kind of like, oh, we came down, we got to share it with everybody, but now there's still so much we want to give. We want to give you those physical CDs. We have digital booklets with all our behind the scenes stuff and a behind the scenes video, and we have so much more to give you, and to start talking about what the next EP is going to look like and the podcast. So in the lead up to Practical Magic 2.
That's right. There's a lot in store. So come back every Friday for new updates and come along with us on our magical musical journey. And we're going to keep talking about practical magic, because I can't believe we haven't just beat this dead horse already. Like, there's still so much.
Absolutely not. Yes. Next week, we're going to be talking about why practical magic feels so nostalgic. And this kind of like pseudoscience behind nostalgia and anemoy, which is a new term for me, but come back next week to learn all about it. Okay.
Is that delving more into liminal spaces as well? Are we going to get into that?
I think it has a little more liminal.
Cool. I'm excited because that's kind of like an offbeat, kind of obscure topic, but like, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's different.
Yeah. I just wanted to, why does it make me feel like this? Why does it make so many people feel like this?
Right.
So you have homework, and that is to pull out your past life.
That's right.
Stuff. Okay.
Right. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And with that said, we will see you back here next Friday with an all new episode. I'm Justina.
I'm Christina.
And we'll see you next time.
At the house on Magnolia Street, would you go down to Magnolia Street where the wisteria grow wild? At the house of magic and mystery, so would you go down to Magnolia Street?
I wanted to take another peek right now at this.
It's so sweet.
This adorbs.
I know. It's so sweet.
It's so cute.
I love it.
They're so good to us. What do we ever do to deserve
I know, nothing. We made some bomb-ass music is what we did.
We did, but we just like, don't shut the fuck up. Who knew that people want to send us gifts for talking?
It's a number 3 Gemini's dream come true.
Right? Yeah, like you could have told me in the 5th grade when my teacher was like, Justina, go sit in the back of the class and shut the fuck up.
Stop talking.
Stop talking. And now we're getting rewarded. So who fucking knew?